Hello, welcome back. So this is gonna be part 2 of my scary ghost experience. It's always weird getting back into speaking about this because I avoided speaking about this for a very long time. If you are anyone like myself, you have heard before when it comes to like spooky things that the more that you speak about it, the more you're basically inviting things. So being that so much had happened during this time period in my life, I very much avoided any sort of like talk surrounding this type of stuff because I was just beyond scared of attracting something else. Now I feel like I have a lot more control of my environment and my mental state. Of course, you know, it's not always the easiest. I have my ups and my downs still, but I'm much better now than I ever was during that time period, and especially in the sense of knowing how to control my mindset and not let myself get into that weak of a state of mind. If there's one thing that I have ever stuck by, it is that your own mind is extremely powerful. Your mindset can make so much of a difference of your life and everything that goes on around you. If you let yourself fall into a hole, that's perfectly fine. If you don't get yourself back out of that, that's when things become a problem. In my younger days, during this time period when things were very hectic for me mentally, things seemed to very much gravitate towards that type of emotion that I had mentally. And a lot of the people who were around me during this time were also very mentally unstable. So not only were unworldly things really gravitating towards that type of negative energy. So as I had stated in my previous video, if you haven't watched that, go watch it. Little things here and there happened prior to me living in a very toxic environment with a very toxic person. Beforehand though, they weren't things that I truly gave any attention to or paid any mind towards. It was kind of like a door would open or a door would shut, and I would kind of just like, being someone who's always believed in the paranormal and, you know, more than human beings here on earth, things like that never really bother me. It kind of just gave me more of a sense of like, yes, there is more than man. And it never really gave me a worrying feeling. Being that I was still living with my parents at the time, it was more of like, you know, just a very comforting environment, more of a laid back, lazy-esque behavior that I had, less of like, you know, worries about life and things like that, where I could kind of just sulk upon myself and just not have any worries behind it. So anything else that could have potentially been going on, I was kind of like, whatever, don't care. One other thing that would happen while I was at my parents' house that I did not mention before was lights that would turn on and off. So I had, and still do have, a nightlight from my mom. She had gotten it for me whenever, you know, birthday, whatever it was. But she had gotten me a cute little like skull tiki, whatever shaped nightlight. And again, while I was staying at my parents', seeing it like go on and off, you know, was kind of more of just like a okay, whatever type of reaction to it happening. And I initially saw it happen. I, taking the more sensible route, figured, you know, it was just busted, the bulb or whatever. So I just unplugged it, you know, put it to the side and kind of just left it at that. It wasn't until after I had moved out and I had taken it with me that it really started to make me think, hey, maybe something else is doing this. And of course, just because I moved places didn't mean that, you know, if it was broken, that it would all of a sudden start working correctly. The only reason I really thought this isn't normal is because it would only do it at 3 a.m. For whatever reason, for over a year, I'm gonna guess, I would every single night wake up at some duration of 3 a.m. For the most part, it would usually be either directly on 3 or 3:06. Those seem to be the two main times that I would consistently wake up out of a dead sleep. And like I said, this happened for a very, very long time. It was not like a short time span that this was happening. I got so used to it. Like, it was just an automatic, like, wake up, and I would, you know, not even question what time it was gonna be. Like, I already knew what time it was gonna be. So once I moved into this very toxic environment, like I said, I had taken the same nightlight to this new place, and, you know, I plugged it in, tried it. I was like, well, it's not doing anything, it should be fine, you know, it's not turning on, it's not turning off, it's whatever, it's fine. I decided one night to still, like, have my eyes open. I decide to try this trick that I had heard of before, where, you know, you just stare at either a wall or something until your eyes get heavy, and then you should fall back asleep. So I'm trying to do this, and as I'm staring in this direction, through the door near this direction, I can see like a light go on and then turn off, and then it goes on and then it turns off, and it is just consistently doing this. Now at first I'm thinking, okay, this has to be the light coming from the window, and it's the neighbor's porch light, or, you know, they're doing something weird and it's coming in from outside, from an outside source. No. I checked. After checking, I never checked again. So for the next couple of nights dealing with this, you know, after realizing there was a light turning on and off, the second I would wake up at this time, I immediately would like turn and face that direction, thinking, where is it? I know it's gonna do it. And it would. It took me a really, really long time, is what it felt like, to finally work up the courage to just go and remove the light. But I finally did. But that kind of made things change in a not so good way. Once that light was unplugged and not something that I'm seeing during the night anymore, more occurrences started to happen instead with the doors. The room that I was staying in had a door to exit on the left from where the bed was, and a bathroom door and a closet door on the right of where the bed was. So if you're walking into the room, you would be walking directly towards the bathroom door, and then the closet door would be on the right of that. Both the bathroom and the closet door were somewhat askew on the hinge. So in order to keep both the bathroom door and the closet door just consistently being open, you would have to have them fully shut. So they were always, fully closed. But those would be the ones that would open. The first night that it happened, with it feeling as though something was inviting me, was when I woke up, of course, at 3 a.m. and I had to go to the restroom. I needed to pee. I sit up in bed to start, getting up and walking towards the bathroom. Before I actually turn to get out of the bed, the doors open on their own. After that happened, I decided to hold it until morning. The next night, I once again wake up at a duration of like 3 a.m. and once again, I'm needing to pee. I need to go to the restroom, and I turn to get up again. The second I sit up and I pivot to turn to get out of bed, closet door opens. I once again make the decision to hold it till the morning. These moments of the door opening felt a lot worse than it ever had before. It felt more like an invitation to something that I'd much rather not be invited to. And quite honestly, I felt it in my gut that if I had gotten out of bed either of those times, something would have happened. The last encounter with whatever was trying to get my attention really gave me a kick in the butt to be like, you need to do something about this. Usually the nights that I would wake up at 3 a.m., it never felt like I was still in a very sleepy state of mind trying to wake up, kind of like if you've ever had a very short night's rest and you have work in the morning and you need to get up early and you're struggling to kind of wake up. It never felt like that. It was always just an immediate jolt of just I'm awake for whatever reason, and my eyes would just open and I would just immediately be awake. This night it felt more like one of those rough mornings where it wasn't just me immediately up and awake. I could feel myself starting to wake up. I was not fully conscious, and while I'm still in that kind of drowsy, sleepy state of mind, I could hear whispers. I couldn't make out any distinct words or anything, but I just heard what sounded like whispers. As I'm starting to wake up and come to, I felt very strange because I could feel that I was on my back. I am not a comfortable back sleeper. I cannot fall asleep on my back. I'm either on my side or just on my chest, with a pillow or something. So to feel that I was facing upwards was just very strange to me. So as I'm feeling that, I'm thinking to myself whoa, why am I facing this way? Next that I'm noticing is both my arm and my leg placement. Not only am I realizing that I am on my back, which is fully abnormal to my regular sleeping habits, but I also have both arms directly above my head and crossed like that. My legs are bent and spread. When I realized that, I was immediately awake and in a panic. My heart started to race and I felt like I could not breathe and like I was being suffocated. I was struggling so hard to catch my breath that the person who was with me at the time, who was right next to me, shot straight up into bed, looked at me, and asked if I was okay. I still could not respond and was just struggling and gasping for air. So this other person turns on the light, and then I suddenly feel like a weight has just been lifted off of me. I could not sleep the rest of that night. To me, things like this do not happen by coincidence. Many people can go and check out haunted places or haunted things and be perfectly fine. When it comes to more prominently bad things happening to those who make contact and have these types of experiences, usually when this happens, what it seems like is things can target those with very weak mental states, those with sadness and grief or depression. Those emotions are very, very powerful. And what it seems like is bad things feed off of those bad emotions. That isn't to say that other people cannot experience things that are just paranormal just in general because they just, have the ability to do so. Of course, that's always the case as well. But what I think is when it comes to more negative things, they attach and they leech off of more negative emotions. As for myself, I protect my energy. I protect myself. And if I'm ever feeling down or upset, I still have never felt that type of low. And I really hope to never again. But I feel like I am now a lot more well equipped to deal with something like that. And I know to set my boundaries, because just like everything else in life, you have to have your boundaries. If you have someone around you who is just a super negative person, you have the choice to either keep them around or tell them no and put a stop to whatever is going on. And you can either drop them from your life or you can continue to deal with it. For me, that goes for paranormal environments in the sense of you don't just let things linger. You put a stop to these things and you put your foot down and you allow yourself to be the more powerful one and to say, no, this is not okay. Once I got a better understanding of how to have my own courage and stand up for myself in life, and I got myself out of that environment, things got much better. As soon as I moved out, I felt light. I felt like I could breathe. I felt safe, which was a feeling that I had not felt in so long. And it was just so nice and just something I was just really ready to welcome back into my life. And like I said, now going forward, I just continue to keep light and love around me and keep things as peaceful and tranquil as I possibly can. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for my little story time. If you have any comments, send them on over. If you liked this or want to hear more spooky things, give me a like, give me a follow. I might have some other things in mind. And try not to be too scared after this.